So we're outside now. We want to talk about probably one of the more costly aspects of the inspection process. As I said earlier, is that this material is a man-made product. There's a lot of companies that made it in the 1990s. Louisiana Pacific was one of them, and so it's called LP siding. That's the kind of material that is on this house. And what happens is the product just absorbed moisture because of a manufacturing defect with this stuff. And then when it was installed, a lot of times wasn't installed properly by the installers, wasn't painted properly, or maintained properly. The bottom edges, the leading edges along the bottom on this lap siding has a tendency as the water comes down and it wicks up inside of it. Now most of the problems are typically on your south and your west sides. That's exactly where we're facing this in this direction. So that's why we're finding such severe damage to it. Now somebody's come in here trying to make some repairs to this, and they've done what I consider a substandard job of installing this stuff. It's great that they put it in there, but I think the caulking on it is really quick and really sloppy. It's probably going to do this job for right now, but it's not just the areas that have been replaced that was bad. On this side of the house, it's bad from where they replaced it all the way up to the top. If we come over here, there's a couple of different ways of seeing it without doing too much damage to it. But one of the things that you find on it is that mushrooms will start to grow on the bottom edges of it. And so if we come over here, and hopefully Neil can zoom in far enough on this, but if you look up here, up in that area, see those black splotches? Those are actual mushrooms that are starting to grow on this, and we kind of showed it upstairs on that master patio. Another way of telling that this stuff is swelled, other than the fact that I've done it, thousands of these inspections, is just how swollen the material looks. So like I said, they have replaced all this down here, but the rest of this wall really needs to be replaced. But when you're in areas that are covered by the eaves, like this wall right here, even though it is on a weathered side, it's really got a real nice eave on this thing that it looks like most of it, there's limited deterioration, but I think that's more from like a dog or something. So you don't have to replace all the siding in the house. It looks like you're probably going to have to replace the siding on probably about 2 sides of this house, but they're probably kind of the smaller sides of the house as well. So we'll kind of work our way around this way. This here, same thing. As you can come over here, if you look up here, you can actually, you can really see the swelling of this product. And when you have your nail heads recessed into the materials, not because the nails were pushed in too far, it's because the material has swelled around that nail head. That's just another indication. Plus, you can take these bottom edges and you can just peel the stuff apart. So that's another quick way of telling that. So this wall here, a lot of this wall, probably not. When you get higher up, you're probably not going to have to replace, but I think you're still going to have to go up a little bit higher to replace some of this. But you can see that this is covered by the eave, so the higher up you are, it's protected. Whereas this wall, there's just no eave on this thing, so this entire wall is going to be completely damaged and rotting. You definitely got some gutter work. Your downspout is missing here. Your gutters are overflowing. They're full of debris and just various degrees of damage to them. So this is another example. This is starting to rot down here. If you come on up here, this whole back wall, once again, is just getting the brunt of a lot of the storm. If you look at the bottom left corner of this window, even the trim is rotted in that area. And then you can even see in that same corner that siding is actually cracked right there. So I can visually see how swelled up this product is, and know that this upper wall all has to be replaced. I don't know if you can get it, but if you stand back here also, since you have two hips. You got a hip here and a hip here, which is where the 2 roof lines come up. You have the ridge cap, so you have 1, 2, 3 sections, but at the very closer to the wall, there's no ridge cap on those, so you have open areas right through that water can penetrate into this little roof area right along the side of here. Yeah, once again, you got a lot of areas where the caulking has to be completed. This is real kind of a crappy caulking job, and the house has to be repainted. You got gaps down there. Also, this is the area we got a lot of rot to the subfloor as well.
And you know, hey Chris,
Yes.
and I want to talk about the door for a minute though, because one of the things like you're talking about is this is a side that catches all the weather, and that door really needed to have just like a little eave over it or something like that, which would have probably protected the water from hitting that door edge right there.
These are notorious for rotting, not just the water getting in and damaging the framing and the flooring, but a lot of times, because this is actually a metal clad door, but a lot of times you get rot down in here and rot inside the door. So there's a positive with every negative, and I guess the positive is at least the door jambs aren't rotted, but you've had a lot of water infiltrating in there, so this door has to be pulled out and makes all sorts of rot repairs. Once again, you can see some of the damage. Some of this wall has to be replaced. You can see how swelled up. You got more mushrooms growing there. Bottom edges are real swelled. I mean, this stuff right here is just flaking apart. It's falling apart. As far as the roof, because this is a concrete tile roof, we do not walk them. Two reasons why. Right now is because there's moss on there, it's raining, and it's slippery. Number two is because when we walk these things, when we crack these tiles, I'm going to be held liable for a bunch of broken, cracked tiles. Now, I know from by looking at it from windows and stuff, there are some cracked ones, and nothing real severe. We definitely have those two that are missing. But if you come over here, Neil, you can see that you got so you got an extra one just laying right there. And if you look up on the other side of the chimney, there's a stack of them just laying up there as well.
Stack of extra ones.
Those shingles, yeah.
Somebody just put up there.
Now, we're going to go back to the siding a little bit. These fireplace chimney chases are notorious for the siding rotting on it, because you just basically have this big sail up in the air with all the rain or water hitting it. And so this is another section that all that siding is going to have to be pulled off and replaced. You record?
And I'd recommend a cement product for that.
In this area, really the best stuff is going to be Hardy Plank. They do have a second generation of this product that they haven't had any problems with, but if you're going to take off and replace, I would definitely go with Hardy Plank, which is a lightweight fibrous concrete material that has a 50-year life expectancy on the stuff. So it's really a good product that if you're going to do this replacement, go with that. And it really will not look bad if you replace the sides and you don't do the whole house. Nobody's going to ever notice that it's two different products. But at the same time, if you want to spend an exorbitant amount of money and reside the entire house, that would be nice also. But I really think going to more of that kind of a product on the weather side is really the best way to go.
And our heat pump's running and heated the house.
Say again?
Our heat pump ran and heated the house.
Yeah, we were able to turn on the propane tank. We got the gas furnace running, ran that for a little while, then we switched it over into the heat pump mode. It's producing really good, strong airflow, really good high temperatures. We cannot run it. Heat pump does both heating and air conditioning. We cannot run this in air conditioning mode because it is below 65 degrees, and that can cause damage to the compressor in the air conditioning mode. So you're definitely going to want to get moved in and service both of your heat sources, your furnace, and also the heat pump.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to take you guys underneath the house with me, but we'll go ahead and talk about the findings of the house. We went ahead and talked about, obviously, the structural damage from the rot by the door, under the toilets, things like that, and the support posts. The other items down there is that you definitely have had past standing water underneath this house. It's hard to determine where that water came from at some point. Excuse me. But in the pictures you can see there's moisture stainings of probably about 6 inches or so that have come up on the foundation on the inside. Now that could just be from groundwater kind of penetrating through the concrete, but there are areas that there's some really light standing water down there, but there's a lot of areas down there that is just damp down there. So you're definitely getting some moisture up there. Now some of this moisture may be because the condensate drain is from the furnace system is dumping down there. That would probably be more of a localized water staining down there. But it also could just be the fact that your downspouts are overflowing, and some of these downspouts are just dumping next to the foundation. And where's this water going to go? It's going to automatically go down and then come back up through that area because it's kind of a lower point. In this area, a lot of times water in crawl spaces and in basements, the 90 some odd percent of the reason is from downspouts not being routed away from the house. So it's going to be one of the items you're going to want to do is clean the gutters, make sure the downspouts are connected, because there's a lot of them right now that are really clogged up and overflowing. So there's also a fair number of insulation underneath the house that has fallen down, and now that has fallen down and gotten into that moisture, it's completely destroyed. So you probably got maybe 10-15% of the crawl space, so you're probably going to have to add some more insulation inside of there. You also have a lot of debris down there. They've put down carpet padding, like extra carpet padding down there, some extra vinyl, cardboard, things of that nature. You definitely want to get down to get all that debris out of there, because that's considered a cellulose material that wood-destroying insects like to attack and get into. So we definitely don't want to have that going on.
And do we see any pests or any signs of pests?
I saw no signs of pests. I didn't even see any signs of rodents underneath this house. But of course, again, it's so wet down there and damp down there that I may just not have seen the droppings that were already inside the moisture. So I don't see anything that indicates any kind of wood-destroying insects. You are kind of out in the country a little bit, and there's always a possibility of rats or field mice getting underneath the houses, but I didn't see any dead rodents or dead cats or raccoons or possums or people.
Okay. And the three questions I always ask is first of all, are there any major safety issues that we should be aware of? I know you're going to have all this in your report.
Safety issues. I wouldn't say there's really any safety issues. No. Health issues? I don't even find that there's really any health issues other than the fact you got a little bit of mold, but the mold around here typically is never toxic. It may be an allergen, but it's so minor just in the garage. There's a little bit that you'll see a picture of inside the master bathroom on the wall that a lot of times you just spray the stuff down with bleach and water, and that should take care of that problem anyways. The beauty now is the 1990s we had a lot of problems with mold in attics, but we don't have it in this house, and the reason why is that they did not use OSB plywood, which is a man-made product that has that resin in it, and that when you start getting higher moisture levels, it starts to create a microbial growth. But this house is actually built with all plywood, and so we didn't have any of those problems in the attic space, which is by far a huge plus. Another plus with this house is the fact that everything appeared to be working. We got the gas furnace to work, we got the heat pump to work, we got the Instant Hot to work, the cooktop, the oven, the microwave, the jetted tub, with the exception of that hot water tank, which is just completely shot. It's good to see that we were able to come in here and everything was able to fire off. But bear in mind, all this, appliances and stuff, they are getting up in age and pushing their age limit. So some of the stuff is going to, start coming up due for replacement. And with that being said, talk with Neil. I really recommend you getting a home warranty on this house that will help cover the expense of repair and replacing this stuff, at least for the first year that you have it, and then you can, renew that as time goes on. And that's going to be huge on a house that's been sitting vacant with much older appliances to help protect your investment.
Okay. And any serious structural concerns?
I wouldn't say structural concerns. You do have those rod and support posts. They really, even though they're bearing points, they're not major bearing points. To replace and replace those 2 or 3 support posts, you're talking a couple $100. You can just go buy a 4x4 pressure treated and cut it to size and knock out the old one, put the new one in.
Okay, all right. And of course, we know your report's going to have a whole lot of more stuff on there. But maybe talk about why on your report you're going to see all these little disclosures saying the world's coming to an end if things are wrong.
Sure, absolutely. These reports are to help protect you as a buyer, because almost everything in there, even if it's a light bulb that's not working is going to say to have a qualified person or a licensed electrician or a licensed contractor evaluate and repair it. The reason why they're written so aggressively like that is not because it's really, really bad, but it's because we don't want a homeowner or a seller to do the work themselves. If you present this report and you say, hey, listen, we have this rotted floor joist, we want it fixed. Well, in the report it says for a qualified contractor or a licensed contractor to do the work. That way when it's presented to the listing agent, they have to follow what that is saying, and it's helped to protect you as well.
Okay. All right. And any last comments?
Well, I think it's a beautiful piece of property. You definitely need to come in here knowing that there's some work that needs to be done. And what Neil and I were kind of talking was that you have to understand that it's not just cosmetic work, and now you still, it's not just updating the house, like the toilets and the tub and the showers and fixtures, but you also got to add into your mindset or your budgeting is that now you have some structural repairs and also the exterior siding on this house. My guess is that if you paid a contractor to remove and replace the siding, provided there's nothing rotted behind it or there's no concealed damage behind it, you're probably looking at $10,000 maybe right in there. What do you think, Neil?
Yeah, that
I think
sounds
it's a pretty good
about
ballpark because you got to remove it, you make any kind of repairs, replace it, caulk it, paint it. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a degree of things that need to be done with that. So, you know, we're here to protect. I'm here to protect your investment. I'm not here to protect Neil's paycheck, even though he wants me to. But I'm here as
Nope.
your representative to protect your investment, make sure that you can make an informed decision with this inspection.
And Neil wants your opinion, otherwise you wouldn't be taking a video of it.
That's right.
All right.
All right. Well,
And of course-
we'll get the report to you. Or maybe you'll have the report before you even get this video, and give me a call if you have any questions.
Yep. And of course you can always call if you have any questions of both of us. All right.
There you go.
All right, Mike. Thanks.